Hello everyone, this is Annie coming to you live from Littleton, Colorado. Hope that everyone's doing well. Thank you for joining me again for this Divine Feminine Astrology chat. Today I wanted to talk to you about Pluto and the importance of spirituality in our lives now. And this isn't just me saying random words, this is also everything that Pluto is going through. And it does make sense to find these things in our chart and see and try to kind of think through and work through how these transits and things are going to affect us. So let's get into it. So here we go. Pluto moves direct on October 6th, and it's been in retrograde since April 28th, 2021. So we have probably been doing a lot of interpersonal work with that, especially in the spiritual realms, because we're trying to determine with this transit if we will be choosing the material life or the spiritual life, especially because we have Pluto in Capricorn with this retrograde that we are wrapping up. So yeah, we have to make this choice now, basically. This is going to change on October 6th, and there might be some kind of light bulb moment that we receive within a week of that time or something like that. Where we feel in our hearts that we do have to make a decision. Am I going to choose 3D or 5D? Am I going to choose new earth and love, or am I going to choose fear and, things that sometimes in the negative manifestations of Capricorn can come through? And no hate on Capricorn, because my son Triton's a Capricorn and he's my favorite man in the whole world. But in the negative manifestations, which every single sign has, Capricorn can be overly focused on the traditional, overly focused on the structures, and inflexible, and maybe even we could say so grounded that it forgets or doesn't care about spirituality. So I think it's really interesting that we had this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, because we have some of those themes for sure playing out in our societies at this time for sure. So the time has come to make a choice. Will humanity choose to ascend or not? Will we stay in our structures, in our disbelief, in our comfort zone? Or will we go the other direction to spiritual expansion and transcendence? And this is absolutely what Pluto, and I'm sure a lot of the dwarf planets that we're discovering more about now, are about. Going further out there, further than we've ever gone before. So exciting times, to say the least, right? So how are we going to approach building new earth? This new earth that we talk about sort of like in the ethers, it's here now for the taking. She's transforming herself for us. It's happening for us, not to us, is what one of my tarot decks says. And I really believe that, but we've got to be tuned into the right frequency in order to access new earth and not be stuck in the old paradigms, right? Yeah. So the question is, I feel like, what are our new spiritual values going to be? I think that's what Pluto is going to discover at the end of this retrograde season it's just gone through. Are we going to go with materialism and control and some of those sort of negative themes that are playing out in Capricorn energy right now? Or are we going to go with Pluto's values, which is spiritual transcendence above all else? And I don't know about you, but I'm going to go with that. Probably that Pisces North Node thing. So anyway, let's move on to the tarot cards. I'm going to go with 2 today. So first, let's look at Pluto. So we've got, oh boy, judgment. Not judgment in the sense that like God's looking down and you did something wrong so he hates you and you're out of the kingdom, which isn't true, by the way. Judgment in the sense that we're at the end of the arcana here. We're at the end of the cycle here. And we, as God's children, have to make those judgments now so that we can ascend, we can move forward. So I think that card is really interesting and really important. And then also I wanted to look at Saturn, which this is the Celestial Tarot, which is really cool, by the way. It's one of the only traditional tarots that I use. But anyway, here we go. We've got Saturn, the world. So let's see here. Saturn, sorry, the glare. The world, Saturn. And then there are some beautiful things in the guidebook on these. So I'm just going to read from here now. Celestial Tarot. Here we go. First card, Pluto, all about judgment the inner judge, but with a purpose for sure. So Lord of the underworld, Pluto draws us down into his world to confront the truth. His gaze is fixed and penetrating, demanding engagement and honesty. When the card appears, it suggests the past can be exorcised. Not like you exorcised like you rise up from hell, in a sense, rise up from the dead. So let's read that sentence one more time. When the card appears, it suggests that the past can be exorcised through accepting responsibility for what has occurred. Ultimately, this is the wealth of self-knowledge and self-empowerment. Oh, that's so beautiful. I'll just stop there. This is self-knowledge and self-empowerment. And this is what Pluto's all about, for sure. And I know a lot of Scorpios, especially my sister, where you can see this in her life. She cares about nothing as much as she cares about that inner empowerment. And I used to really be like, wow, you're so selfish. I don't get it. But now that I'm a little more familiar with Scorpio energies and I'm exploring Venus and Scorpio in my own chart, I have a much more profound respect for Pluto, which is the ruling planet for Scorpio. So moving forward, we had the World card, which is Saturn here. And I picked that one because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. And we're still talking about this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. I forgot about that for a second. But anyway, here we go. So the world, Saturn, at the journey's end. At the journey's end, we encounter Saturn, Lord of Karma, who acknowledges our hard-won triumphs. In this context, the sickle here symbolizes the resolution and differentiation needed for evolution. Needed for evolution, I think, is the key phrase there, yeah. To accomplish tasks in the world, the hero must cut through the illusions and falsehoods to perceive the truth. And that's what Pluto's all about, for sure. The deepest spiritual truths. The last major arcana card, this also depicts the sacred circle of the zodiac, symbolic of wholeness and self-actualization. Love that. With the appearance of the World card, the individual's unconscious is directing them to participate, cooperate, and be embraced by the world. Because they're at the end of the hero's journey here with this card, the World. So it's time to express our gifts with the world. And I think that's what Pluto wants this year and with these transits. Pluto wants all that hidden inner spiritual witchy stuff that, can get burned out there that we sort of bury underground. Pluto wants that to all come to light and be shown to the world as truth and not like, woo-woo fantasy crap or something. So lastly, I like to end with some examples from our group. So let's see. First, we've got Elisa in Mexico. So she let me know that she has Pluto in Libra. So that's cool, especially because we just entered Libra season. So it's probably relevant spiritually speaking for Elisa right now, that Pluto and Libra, both of those energies, and how they can come together in greater harmony, specifically the Pluto and the Libra. So Libra is all about balance, especially having a balanced perspective. So spiritually speaking, this is a beautiful placement. And I will tell you from experience, Elisa has been such a great friend to me in just like the last couple of weeks we've known each other. And she's always ready to look at both sides of the coin. And so that's why lately I just ask her questions out of nowhere, because I'm like, I know she'll give me a good balanced perspective, and I'm always in the ethers. So, every now and then I got to check in with, other things. So the next example is going to be Sappy. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And she's in Portugal, which is awesome. And she let me know that she has Lilith sextile Pluto. She just sounds sexy. That's awesome. But this brings an edgy magnetism and definitely a theme of spiritual freedom and fascination into the ascendant. Someone with this in their chart is going to be all about liberation and unafraid of spiritual individuality. And I would say even if you don't have either of those things in your chart, we can all use a little bit of that in our lives. But yes, figure out where Pluto is in your birth chart and we can talk about it in the chat. And thank you all so much for meeting me here today. I hope that you have a beautiful Mercury retrograde. We're right around the corner there. And I hope that you can hear some of the beautiful whispers that Pluto is bringing in right now, calling us to accept and appreciate and honor spiritual transcendence in our lives. Adios.